I was really like, fuck this shit. I'm off to the garden. I'm off to learn gardening. I had no idea what I was doing. But for the first time in my life, I didn't have fear of asking a question I didn't know.
And at the same time, my wife was pregnant with our second child. So it takes about a year for SYNGAP. So what they have is a developmental epileptic encephalopathy, a DEE, called SYNGAP1, which is a protein which they don't have the full amount of protein. So SYNGAP works between the synapses of the nerves, and therefore not getting the firing of all the nerves all over the body, so that it reduces all their function, significantly.
And I'm running down the street in Maribyrnong for the tram, and I was like, I'm going to miss the tram, so I'm running, and my pants are starting to fall down because I've lost a little bit of weight. So
levity.
Yes.
And then that was the last time I saw my mum, because my mother died 11 weeks after the wedding.
God.
So it was the last time that I got to be in a room with my mother, who was found.
Acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands from which we're joining this conversation. We pay our respects to elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples joining us today.
Hello. Hi. Welcome to the Water Talks. We are in the Commons in Melbourne, which is our first time gathering here, which is, I think, really exciting, actually. It's really good it feels kind of real energy and a real start to something and a real togetherness in it. So I want to say thanks for that. It's good fun. And I guess every episode starts with a single question, doesn't it? So today we wanted to kind of explore who we are. And there's been a few discussions, and then it was a bit like, who are we? We're having a chat. So we're just going to have a chat about who we are and some of those kind of important questions that have led us to be here and the context that we're in and where we come from. Because we all come from different places that make us who we are. So I'm Louise. Hello.
Hi, Louise.
Hi there. There's Danny over there. Hi, Danny. Nice to see
Louise.
you. Nice to see you in person as well, because I've
too.
flown in from Adelaide. And I'm here in Melbourne.
And I love your garden.
Oh, do you? Thank you very much, darling.
It's
Thank
a proper
you.
veggie.
Yeah, it's a
fruit
proper
garden.
veggie. It's very dormant at the moment, so there's not a lot going on apart from the mandarins, I must admit. And Christine, hello, darling. How
Hello,
are you?
my friend.
Yeah, hello. And Fred.
Hello.
Hi, Fred.
Hello.
Anyway, so first question. Tell us about a moment in your life that fundamentally changed the way you see the world.
Well, having children, I think, is
Yes, of course.
a time that fundamentally changed my life. But not just having children, but having children with a severe disability. And both of them. I have two children. They're now 16 and 14, Jaylee and Darley. And within the first year, everything was okay, and then they started having severe seizures, which, was a little bit of a shock for everybody. And so we weren't sure. We just thought it was epilepsy. Well, in fact, the first doctor we saw told us to stop being neurotic parents and to go home. There's nothing wrong with your children.
Really? Wow.
Your child, sorry. So, that was the first shock, that actually there was nothing wrong with our first child. And then we found out that she had epilepsy, and we were pregnant with our second child. And a year after she was born, the same thing happened. And then, for the first 6-7 years of my life, they were having severe seizures. They had intellectual disability. They had insomnia. They had all these different problems, and actually no one knew what was going on. So, you take a little bit of a step back, or you actually are exhausted for a long period of time. And so it really grounds you and really tries to make you, or allows you to understand the bigger picture of the world, even though I was already a big picture thinker. And now 10 years later, we're about to, fingers crossed, start the first clinical trials here in Australia to actually change their lives. There's been a lot
massive.
going on.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that's affected me. And there's many more stories because I got sick and I got Crohn's because I was, were in a dark hole for 6 years, not knowing what was wrong. We weren't sleeping, etc. And so there's always a knock-on effect to these things which nature decides to throw at you. Nature is a wonderful thing. It really does show you where you're at and where you are in life. And to me, I've got two beautiful children who are growing up and wonderful beings who are just following in nature's footsteps.
How old were they when you found out what was going on? Like, it took a long time by the sounds
Well, no,
of it.
actually, we had Jaylee in London, okay, and then we came here, and about 12 months old, we started seeing eyelid flutters, and at the same time, my wife was pregnant with our second child. So it takes about a year for SYNGAP. So what they have is a developmental epileptic encephalopathy, a DEE, called SYNGAP1, which is a protein which they don't have the full amount of protein. So it's SYNGAP works between the synapses of the nerves, and therefore we're not getting the firing of all the nerves all over the body, so that it reduces all their function, significantly. And then it just got worse, and now the seizures have got a little bit better, the sleeping's got a little bit better, but they're still, intellectual. They still have intellectual disability. They still have a bit of ASD, autism spectrum disorder. They still are practically non-verbal. They're still in nappies. They still, can't dress themselves, look after themselves, feed themselves fully. So there's a lot still to deal with. But yeah, it was within 14 months. And that's quite normal with SYNGAP. It takes a little bit of time for the body to change, adapt, and develop and grow, for them to notice the deficiency of SYNGAP.
Wow.
And but we're advocates. We are taken 10 years. We raised money. The government gave us millions of dollars to start research. Wow. We pushed them. My wife is an advocate all over the world. The community is growing. There's 1,500 in the world, and the life is great.
Wow,
is
so
great.
that is definitely a fundamental change of
Do you
your
think?
life. Absolutely.
Dan,
I'm
I
not always
did-
sure.
Can you tell us about the trials, the medical trials? Because you've told me a little bit about it. End of last year over dinner, you were saying it was coming up. What can you say?
So I can say everything. They're hopefully starting in August in Australia, and they're actually going to be around the world. Basically, because they're lacking some SYNGAP, which is a protein that causes the nerves to work, this trial is to boost the good pump, SYNGAP pump, to double the amount of SYNGAP so they can become normal, neurotypical, or as close as possible. So this is what they call an intrathecal injection of what they call an ASO, antisense oligonucleotide. All these big words that I never knew. Precision medicine. And it's injected into the spine because at the moment it can't cross the blood-brain barrier, this certain chemical. And it goes into each little cell and pumps up SYNGAP and literally causes normality to happen. Wow. So the trials that have happened in the past, there's one trial that happened in Edinburgh with a different DE, developmental and epileptic encephalopathy. Should I saying that after a few?
Or not.
I don't. Yes. And it's shown significant improvement, to a point where they can talk, they can kick a ball, they can do their buttons, they can write, they can have a conversation with you. It's quite remarkable. So this is a company that's from Boston who's trying it in a number of different places around the world, Australia being one of them, because there's one of the world's leading professors of SYNGAP in Melbourne. Therefore, we're very lucky to get to Australia and to find this woman, Professor Ingrid Scheffer, who's amazing. And so we're kind of lucky to be here.
Yeah, wow.
And so the trials hopefully is going through ethics at the moment, and hopefully we'll start trials in September or something.
Wow.
Wow.
You've just
And
got to
then you're gonna have
decide.
to-
You just got to decide if you want to be in the trials first ever. You want to be in the first cohort. We don't know what will happen.
Yeah. The risk.
No, they've done them on mice and they've done them on monkeys, but we've not done them in humans. Of course, there's a risk with everything. Which child do I choose? Do I choose both? Do we wait until the second phase? Do we don't do it? Do we wait until other trials come along, which maybe not so invasive? there's all these things that my wife and I don't talk about.
You don't
Yeah,
talk.
that's
Well, we
interesting.
kind of talk about, but
But you don't.
we don't. We kind of
Because you know it.
We feel.
Yeah, you
we
have to
feel
feel
it
into
through.
it, kind of. And have you come to a decision? Is there a decision being made? Do you feel it coming?
I think the we don't want to be in the first cohort. There's going to be 3 phases. So I think we just want to see how things work. But the question is who's that goes
Who's
into
going
the
to go
first
first?
phase.
Yeah.
Children more significantly, profoundly Syngapians, or I don't know. We don't know yet what the criteria is. We don't know what is happening there. We just don't know. We just need to wait to see a few things. But yes,
How do you make a decision like that when you don't know? Like, you can't know all the information ahead of time.
and it's not your
First round.
decision. Remember, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a decision for somebody who can't make a decision for themselves.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
So
the
That's
layering
really-
of that's pretty heavy duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it.
So I think you have to look at it in a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Because even though nature finds the truth, what is science is another big question. And this is one trial of many, and therefore it could be 5 people in humanity in this country who does this trial. Is it worth trialing something on 5 people for the greater whole,
For the greater good.
for the greater good?
Yeah, well,
Is it? I'm asking.
Because there's
I
risk.
don't know. It's
there's risk as well, isn't there?
So there was a trial done with another DEE, as I said, in Edinburgh. There were 81 people in the trial, and one of them dropped out. 79 showed fantastic effects, and 1 lost all function. And they do not know why that person lost all function
that's
and
interesting.
could not get the function back.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So there's always a risk involved with anything. And so
The anomaly.
there's the anomaly or the non-anomaly.
Yeah. Yes. On the average, with regards to what you've just said. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's just, something just going on in the water.
Just a touch.
Still got to live your life.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And they're your children.
And they're my children. And the professor wanted us to have another child because they wanted to make a neurotypical child. So we could have
Because is that possible? Because it's the coming together of both of your DNA that has produced.
So,
yeah.
okay.
Wow.
So it's my wife nor me have SYNGAP
Yeah.
deficiency. However, there's a mutation on either my wife's egg or my sperm that has the epigenetic mutation, so natural mutation that's come together and caused a SYNGAP child. Or two. In our case, we're very rare.
Oh my goodness. So you could have potentially had a 3rd child if there had been egg.
So if they would have
Taken
done IVF,
Yeah.
they could have.
And that would have potentially helped them to again look at the gap, the variance.
Yeah, and they could have
Wow.
possibly made us a neurotypical child, but we said to the professor, I think 1-on-1 marking is enough with
We
these
could-
because,
we
like
could
even
fix-
last week, my daughter decided to sit in the middle of the road while crossing it.
Oh, you told me about this.
She's not light anymore,
Yeah.
but that's what happens.
I can understand that. Sometimes I'm tired. I feel like sitting in the middle of the room.
Thank you, Danny, for sharing that.
Yeah, wow.
It's
Thank you.
massive, massive journey. Wow. And also not only a journey for you, but journey for your wife as well. The both of you together going through that. It's full on.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have a wife who loves me
Yeah.
because we've gone through a lot.
Yeah.
And we still go through a lot. We all have. Look, I see my children as normal to me because I don't know what a neurotypical child is and a normal relationship. Okay, every kid is difficult. We all have difficult children. My kids are exactly the same. They've just got a developmental epileptic encephalopathy. Wow.
Again, it's tricky to say.
It is very tricky to say, isn't it? I know. I'm not going to say it. Definitely not. So, Christine,
Amen.
over to you, darling.
Amen.
Yes. What was the question?
Something that I'll repeat it.
Yes, please.
Tell us about a moment in your life that fundamentally changed the way you see the world.
It's a big question because I think there's quite a few.
Yeah.
I've got a few of those.
Yeah.
A few mini epiphanies. I think what comes to mind today is the death of my parents, actually. The death of my parents, the birth of my child, the death of my grandmother. So within the space of 3 years, so 18, actually it was about 18 months. My father, who was in his 60s, had illness his whole life. I was talking to you about it today. So at the age of 12, he'd broken his back and ended up with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And back in a time where it was, diabolical. And they came from a very poor family and they lived on a farm. So if you lived on a farm, you're from a Catholic family, the reality was you needed to be able to work, and you also so they wanted some level of education, and they were all at a boarding school, which was really, on the train lines now, not far from where they lived, but they rode a horse to get there, and it took like a day to get there.
Wow.
And Dad, the males in the family were all very sporty. They were all probably about your height. They were tall. They were footy players. Played for Richmond. They were really sporty people, and Dad was too. So he had broken his back and didn't grow again from the age of 12, and the brothers at the school wouldn't let him go home, and said that he was shirking his responsibilities for the work that he was supposed to do as a boarder at the time. And he healed, well, he didn't heal, but his body froze effectively, so he was doubled over because he'd slept in the fetal position. Anyway, my grandmother, who was there's a whole story around her, but anyway, as we all have family stories, but she loved Max, loved my dad, loved all her children, and she'd had many miscarriages, and it was a big Catholic family, and she carried him on her back to South Australia to see an acupuncturist naturopath who everybody thought was as mad as a cut snake back then, like it was like voodoo, effectively. What he was doing was so alternative and so odd that they worked on him, and he stayed in a boarding house with my aunt, who's turning 98 on the weekend. Anyway, she stayed with him in the boarding house, and they worked on him until he was upright. He was able to be upright, but he never grew, and so he for his whole life had physical health issues with arthritis, and we used to call him the bionic man. He was the funniest man on the planet because he was short and had to be funny. So we're convinced that's how he won my mum over, because he was fucking hilarious. Irish humour, bad jokes, good but hilarious. And so he was very unwell and he died. And I was very pregnant with Samuel, so I was in my last trimester. I went to see him. He was living this is a very traditional Australian family, in that you live together. Like if you're divorced, then your sister takes you in, and you live with the family, and you have a roast dinner on Sunday, and the whole family were effectively living up in Rochester, which is just near Echuca in Victoria on the farm, and Dad just got sicker and sicker, and eventually he died at 64. But I had finished visiting him. And went home to Melbourne for a little bit to change my clothes to go back up. And whilst I was gone, he died, which, of course, is what really is an interesting thing when you're dying. Not that I know what it's like to be dying, but I'm fascinated by the many stories that I hear around how people will rally before they die, and also give someone the gift of the peace of not being there at someone's death. There's a choice to be made.
Yeah.
There's a moment. So he died. I then had Samuel. So this is the story for me. It's about life and birth, like the cycle of life. We talk about permaculture. We talk about regeneration. We talk about non-extraction. My family has this period of time was really intense. So we had Samuel, and my dad didn't get to meet him. So I was pretty sad about that.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I can. This conversation's interesting to have with hindsight, because when you're in it, you're in it. You're not on it. You're not looking at it. You're not observing yourself in it. You just. And so I think what I realised about myself was, the capacity to continue, because I had a child. I had to have a child. I had to look after my child. So the grief was put to the side, or maybe the grief was worn more strongly, or maybe I just put it on in the morning like a coat and I didn't think about it particularly much. But that's it. Just I did it and raised this little human, and then Darren and I decided to get married, and so the wedding was planned for whatever it is, say 12 months later, 18 months later, and 3 days before we got married, my maternal grandmother, who had raised me effectively with my mum, died 3 days before our wedding, which was super intense. Like super intense, actually. It's like, another parent dying. And she had been my rock. So she was the only adult in my life who'd been an adult, because my mum really wasn't. She was wonderful but not an adult. I was the adult, and Dad was not an adult really either. So she was my so I felt very orphaned without realising it. Again, with the benefit of hindsight, I can go, wow, I'm going to have to, I've got to stand on my own 2 feet now. Like, I haven't got anyone that I can have a cup of tea with. And she had dementia. Like, by the time she was dying, she had dementia. She was not exactly the reliable. I had great conversations with her, off the charts, mad shit, like in nursing home conversations, where she felt that she was running the nursing home like it was her hotel and the staff were hopeless. It was, anyway, great part of our relationship. The emergence into the fantasy with her was just easier. And then, so I went to a funeral. Maybe she died 2 days earlier, I don't know. But I went to a funeral basically 2 days before our wedding. So I go to a funeral. It's an interesting way to lose weight too, by the way, grief. You can lose a lot of weight with grief. So anyway, so I'm like, got to do that, got to get through that. Then got to get through the wedding. And the wedding, and at this stage I haven't actually really acknowledged the fact that I'm grieving, that I'm having exceptional anxiety and panic attacks. But to really, exacerbate that through the wedding, drink Red Bull.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so no, don't do that ever.
No.
Because I was the only thing that I thought was going to keep me awake. It certainly did.
Were you smoking fags as well?
Oh, yeah, I was a massive ciggy smoker. Oh, my God, I was committed to my smoking.
Fags.
So, so I'd race out in my frock, punch out a couple of darts.
Smash out a Red Bull.
Yeah, smash out a Red Bull, come back in and wonder why I'm like a little toey.
Going to have a heart attack on the dance floor.
Super, yeah. Woo! What is she doing? And why is she really odd? And
At least you had Samuel before the wedding night.
Yeah.
Because then, because
But
God
wait,
knows
there's
what happened on
more.
the wedding night.
Yeah, but wait, there's more. So, and then, I may cry. And then, that was the last time I saw my mum, because my mother died 11 weeks after the wedding.
Oh, God.
So it was the last time that I got to be in a room with my mother, who was found in her house and had been dead for 2 days before she was found. And I knew, it's a very strange, like the connect, we talk about being separate. We are so not separate. We feel everything. We intuitively, we know. Like, we are so good at pretending that doesn't exist, because for whatever reason it makes us feel like we're in control of our lives. Well, fuck right off, we are not. I knew something was wrong. I sensed something was wrong. I felt like I'd had a premonition that eventually that she was going to die. But she died at 56 years of age. She was 56.
Six.
I'm 58, turning 59.
I thought you were 60.
Shut up. I'm nearly. But we won't talk about that. See, we talked about this.
You look good.
I look better when I'm like that. Anyway.
For the people who are listening,
Yeah, for the people
Christine
who
is stretching her skin over her face.
For the people who are looking, this is what it looks like. For the levity of the grief, so
4 funerals and a wedding.
Oh,
Could be a
yeah.
film.
yeah, it could be a film. This is real life. So it was,
What a roller
you know,
coaster.
and then just to finish off that period of time, we had, which I'd like to talk about if I may. We had a funeral. Ironically, Mum died in Paynesville.
Where is that?
It's down on the Gippsland coast, it's on the Gippsland Lakes, and it's the most spectacularly beautiful place. And you know, there's we'll do another podcast one day on mental health issues of your family. But enough to say that my mum was not in great shape. She was like a severe alcoholic, and she had bipolar disorder, and there was a lot going on for her. Like it's, you know, the shock of it was horrendous. Still, you can tell, you know, like it's still awful. I have moments where it's horrendous, and I can feel the feelings all at once all over me, and I think, oh my God, she's been gone. My mother has been dead for 24 years. 24 years. But I feel it like it was a minute ago. So we had this funeral in Paynesville. Her body was in Paynesville. We had to move her body. To the crematorium. So I had to drive home from spending however long I'd been in Paynesville, because when someone dies, you also have to, if they don't own their home, you have to clean out their home, you have to find a house for their cats, you have to pack up all their furniture, you have to go through your photos, you got to pack someone's everything up. And I had a son. I remember standing up and talking about life and death, lifing, you know, and standing up the front and looking at all these faces who'd been friends with my mum, you know, or family who'd been friends with my mum, been part of our lives, and talked about, you know, how precious everything is, how precious every moment is, and there's so many words to use to sort of describe a human being in your life. Like, you know, you can read poetry, you can do all sorts of beautiful things, but you could literally list a whole lot of different words that would invoke a story of what this person was to me. But the most important thing for me, the interesting thing for me, was that although my precious mother, who had given me such a fucking ride, had died, I still needed to pick up the milk. Like, you still got to pay the gas bill, you still got to pay the electricity bill, still got to kiss your son, you still got to, you know, whatever. And then several weeks later, I found out that I was pregnant with Ruby.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's my life.
Another cycle.
That's part of it. And for that was, I think, my realisation of what systems thinking was too, by the way. Like, everything is interconnected, every single thing, every single everything.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Can you just share, before we move on to Fred, or is a joke that your grandfather would tell you?
Yes?
Could you share one for us?
Oh, yes, I can. So my grandfather, did anybody ever watch, are we all too old? You won't know this, Fred, you're too young. Do you remember Steptoe and Son?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know Steptoe and Son, though? Fred?
Yeah, isn't there a reboot? Isn't there a...
No, that's
No,
Mother
no,
and Son.
Mother and Son.
Different. Same, actually.
Yeah.
Not different, not
Okay.
too dissimilar.
I actually
So
do know
Steptoe and Son
Steptoe.
was just like, you know, the house where there were 10 cars parked out the front. And anyway, that was my grandfather's house where my father and my Uncle Dick and my grandfather Alan lived. They all lived. Gramps had half his ears removed because of skin cancers because he was a farmer. And he would sit there with his hearing aid going, "Meow," and be watching the football, listening to the cricket, like hilarious.
Is that a joke?
No. and 75 million ciggy butts, beers, cup of tea, whatever was happening in this house. It was all men living in this house. It was stunk of cigarette. The kitchen was yellow. My uncle called out to my grandfather, Al, he said, do you want a sandwich? And Gramps said, no, I've had a sandwich. And he said, what'd you have in your sandwich? He said, I had ham. You had ham? We haven't got any ham. What do you mean you had ham? He said, I had ham. I had ham with some mustard. I think the ham was off. Well, no, it was off, not off, off. And Dick said, we don't have any ham. What does the ham look like? And he said, go and have a look. Go and have a look in the fridge. My grandfather had cut the dog food slice and made himself a sandwich with a bit of mustard because the ham tasted
Delicious.
Oh,
Delicious.
Yeah.
oh, that's disgusting.
Hilarious.
Oh, a bit of dog food.
Can't beat a bit of dog food when you need.
Oh, yeah,
That's
can't
like
keep.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. So, hi, Fred. Do you want me to repeat the question?
I
Shall
think I got the question.
You think you got
Yeah,
the question?
Yeah. What's a moment?
Moment that's fundamentally shaped who you are.
Okay. I'm glad we had the levity after.
Sorry.
No. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. I'm not gonna do grief. I don't have very much grief to share about, but I also just thought it'd be nice to talk about something a little bit lighter. So, sorry, but we're done with all that.
Move on, walk it off.
Yeah.
really.
Shake it out.
Shake out that death. Come on.
Yeah.
Nicely.
Shake out that death is going to be the
Unfiltered.
tagline of the.
That's a great podcast title.
Hilarious.
No, my moment is probably a collection of moments over a bit of time, but I have lost my entire body weight's worth of weight in my lifetime. I've done it twice, so I didn't do it all at once. But I'm 80 something kilos, and I have been through 2 periods where I've gone like a long way up in weight and then a long way down quite quickly.
Where are you now? Are you in the middle?
I'm actually, the reason why this came up is because I was completely unprepared for this episode, and I was also unprepared for Melbourne transport, which I was late and I had to call you, and I'm running down the street in Maribyrnong for the tram, and I was like, I'm going to miss the tram, so I'm running, and my pants are starting to fall down because I've lost a little bit of weight. So
Levity.
yes. So I'm running down the street, like holding the belt hook. I don't have a belt because I didn't realize I'd lost that much weight, and trying to keep my pants up, running down the street, deciding whether it was worth it to keep running,
Or to let go of your pants.
holding the pants, or just stop and miss the tram. So I made the tram, and I looked ridiculous. But yeah, so I'm 80. I haven't been on a scale in a couple of months, but I must be around 86 or something. But at its highest point, so I was, uni, I went to boarding school. I can see some threads through all of this. It was very hard not to pick having kids as my moment, but I figured that there would be a bit of that. But I went to boarding school in Australia. I grew up in Fiji. My family is still there. I was, here by myself, learning things, how to take care of myself, which nobody really knows how to do if you're a teenage boy and you're in a house full of teenage boys. So I left. I was living by myself in Sydney, starting uni. And so I just made the worst health decisions all the time. Like I
want details. I need
yeah,
details.
I'll give you details. So I had a friend who used to come over and used to joke that the pizza boxes were load-bearing in the house because they were starting to stack up so high. Yes, pizza. The Domino's pizza. Oh yeah, horrible stuff, right? And I was partying a lot because I was 20-something and I felt free and was hanging out with my friends and spent what little money I had on pizza and beer. I was playing rugby at the time as well. Like that makes it sound like maybe I was good at rugby. I was playing some very, very low level social park footy in Sydney. Shout out to the subbies, the subbies rugby comp, which is just the most hilarious level of rugby to go and watch because it's like long necks on the sideline at halftime kind of stuff. And
Australian rugby.
yes.
Long necks being.
Long
Yeah,
necks
so
being
you don't
a
even know what that is.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just people with long necks in Sydney.
There's a couple of those around the rugby pitch.
Long neck beer.
Yeah, a beer. Like I vividly remember watching KP, one of my friends, sit down after halftime because he got subbed off, having a long neck, being like, "I'm done," and because we never had enough people for the team, he had to put his boots back on and go back on the field, half a long neck down. Yeah. So all of those health things are going on. A bit of exercise in there maybe, but I was playing we're in Melbourne and we're deep in AFL country, so I don't know how much everybody knows about this, but front rowers are in rugby union are not typically the healthiest looking specimens, especially in subbies rugby, who tended to be the portly guys. So I'm doing all of this, all the health stuff, eating the pizza, the load-bearing pizza boxes, and I start to notice anytime I get on a scale, it's starting to get up there. And at the highest I ever saw it, I was 119 point something. And I don't know what it is about my body. People were like, you can't be that. You can't be that heavy. I have a friend who was playing real rugby, like
You mean good rugby without the long neck?
Yes, no long necks, although he did have a long neck. He's 6'4" and really incredibly ripped. He did rugby camp in New Zealand and was very serious about it. And we were nearly the same weight. And he's 6'4" and I'm 5'7", 5'8".
I played high level rugby.
Okay,
Yorkshire
yeah.
rugby.
Yeah.
And I just peaked at 100.
Okay.
And I'm 6'4".
Yes. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was getting up there. And right around this time, I started working in hospitality. And
It's another
Great.
interesting choice.
yeah, which
You
is just really good.
delivering
But
pizzas.
interestingly, this is where the story turns, right? Because I was working in a bar in Sydney called Bungalow 8 down on Darling Harbour. And the hours were just shocking. Like I'd turn up for work at 10 p.m. to do my 2 weekend shifts as a glassy, picking up glasses, and initially I was just doing the 2 weekend nights, go in and clean the toilets and wait until everybody got out to pack everything up. And then those bars used to do absolute service during summer because all the corporates would come down from the city. As soon as they sort of got a sniff of, Christmas break, summer's here, every night started to get busy. And so I was working 5-6 nights a week.
So got you
Wow.
fit.
Yeah. So I was on my feet all the time. I was
You weren't sleeping.
not
No
sleeping.
time for pizza.
No.
Started smoking, which
It's a
was,
way.
everyone
way.
was
It's a
doing
way.
it. having
Good way to
fun.
lose the weight, isn't
Yeah.
it? Smoking.
But then also not eating properly.
I never found that.
Not promoting smoking. We're not promoting
Of course
smoking.
not.
Yes,
Well,
and if my
it's
parents are
questionable.
listening
Yes.
to this, I do not smoke anymore. It was a very
None of us
short
do.
period, yeah. But yeah, and so like not eating well, basically not missing meals without realizing because I was working in. People started to like look at me and they're like, "You're looking good, man." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like,
'Cause of course
just
that
didn't
concerns
notice.
you too.
And then my pants started falling off. I'm walking around the bar, pulling my pants up. Had to go and like buy a belt, and then people started saying it more and more. Like, "Oh, geez, you're looking good." And like I got on the scales and I was like, "Oh, I've actually lost a bit of weight." And so once I realized that, I started running a bit, exercising a little bit more. I moved into an apartment block that had a gym, and so I started going to the gym. I went all the way down to, I must have been close to 80, around the 80 mark. So that was 40.
That's
that was
40
about
kilos.
40 kilos.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah. And then,
That's your weight, Lou, isn't it?
I'm 50, 53, 54. So, yeah, about the same as you, Christine.
yeah. So I
me
think
and yeah.
if you added up my wife plus my 2 kids, I would have lost their entire body weight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not in that one thing, but in both goes.
Yeah.
And so then I met my wife at this time. And so you can see I start to get a little bit more comfortable again. And
Fat and happy.
still
Yeah.
on the phasing out of the partying at uni. And then we went to Europe. And we were traveling Europe. And I was on the way up again without realizing. And
Carbs in Europe.
Cheese on that really yummy bread.
And you don't want to go to
Cheese
Europe.
and French bread.
It was my first time traveling a long way. Obviously, between Fiji and Australia, I'd done a lot, but I hadn't done sort of big overseas travel. You don't want to go to Europe and not eat the carbs, right? You don't want to go to Europe and not drink the wine. And we saved all this money up for this like big, long 12-month holiday, and I think we blasted through it in like 3 months because we were just having a time and just indulging ourselves and having the best time. And it started like, I look back at photos and you can kind of see starting to get a bit portly again, and the longer the European holiday goes on. And then, I lived in London for a bit and was working in hospitality again, on my feet all the time. The hours were even worse in London. I couldn't, I was doing 60-hour weeks almost off the bat. Not busy season, nothing, just like
Regular.
Yeah. And for, £8.50 an hour, whatever it was, like you had to work all the time to pay rent.
Hasn't gone up.
No.
It's about
I just remember going to the pub.
£9.50.
Yeah. Going to the pub in Peckham and buying a pint and looking at it and being like, that was a whole hour's worth of work.
Wow, what a trippy.
Yeah, and it's not any better anymore at the moment, sorry. But anyway, more of that. Start to notice that the number starts going down again, and then I started going to the gym and like pushing myself. And then the lowest I got down to over a couple of years was 70. I think the lowest number I saw was maybe 78. That's good. So,
is it something that you've been worried about?
it comes in and out of worry for me. I think I also have a lot of, stuff that I haven't unpacked around body image as well. And I don't think it comes up a lot for men, but I have massive things around body image and what my body should look like, particularly given I have a sort of an atypical body. If you're watching, maybe you'll notice, but like I've got a sort of stocky stature, the same stature my granddad has, and it's always kind of weighed on me a little bit, like what I look like, and the environments at school were always quite,
Kind.
Yes, very kind. Everyone was always very kind. No, it was pretty critical of like, you can't do this. And there was some really like high-level sports folks who went to my school, and so there was a lot of pressure around that. And so that's how you had social standing. But so I do worry about it. I also now with kids, I'm trying to have a really healthy relationship with that, because I don't want them to see me getting on the scale all the time and freaking out about it. I want them to see someone who has a good relationship with eating and being healthy and exercise, and that I'm doing that for the right reasons.
Thanks, Fred. It is really interesting.
With regards to the scales,
Yeah.
so your relationship with the scales is what? The scales are weird for me. I've only just recently bought scales.
Oh,
I'm
really?
just interested, yes, for other reasons.
Yeah.
But I'm most interested.
Yeah.
They're weird things, aren't
Friend
they?
or foe?
I foe for a long time, friend for a long time, and now
On again, off again.
we're in
relationship.
like a bit of a situationship of like, it's a bit weird, like because of the thing with the kids, because I don't want them to see somebody who's obsessing over their weight or their body shape. I want them to see someone who's being healthy, and so I'm trying to find that line. But I need the feedback. I know I need the feedback, especially when I'm in a good place and I'm exercising a lot. If I can get on the scales every couple of days and see a difference, which I was at some of those points, I was seeing myself drop.
So that's
like a
that's
couple
the
hundred
external
grams.
sort of external reference points.
Yes, yeah,
And it's a little dopamine hit as well.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
it's most interesting.
Yeah, there is.
and once it's the thing with losing weight is it doesn't happen in like a straight line. It's not like you lose X amount a day. It's like you'll be doing stuff for ages and suddenly you'll get on the scale and you're a couple kilos lighter than the last time that you were really sort of noticed, because weight fluctuates every day. You're supposed to be drinking a couple liters of water. It takes your weight up. A big meal, or you haven't eaten, haven't
Big
had
poo in the
lunch.
morning.
Yes,
Don't weigh yourself before the poo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or you do the before and after.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you-
And then you're like,
If you're curious.
well, that was a big one.
No, but it's how easy
Put
it
on
is.
kilos.
You become quite obsessive about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, Nigel's also my partner Nigel is also got a bit obsessed with weighing himself continually.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he's really in the zone of weighing himself.
I'm so vain.
Yeah,
Definitely.
which I get.
do it for
I'm
vanity.
really real conscious about that, because Olive sees it as well, and Oni sees it. My
Yeah.
two children. So there is that kind of trying to navigate that, and I've got many stories of having to be weighed in class in front of my class.
Yes, they did that generationally.
Yeah, generational, grab you from the. I remember when I first got to first year of secondary school.
About that, they did that. I forgot
And
about
then
that.
they're like, oh, we're going to weigh everybody because
Like,
it's in
what the
science
actual fuck?
and we're going to chart everybody's weight. Like, not in a consideration that you're 11-year-old just heading into, there's
Public
hormones,
shaming.
public shaming. And so I I knew this was going to happen. And so I said to my science teacher, and then I took the day off school because I was like so embarrassed. And I also was like, well, I'm only 5'1" and 3/4.
Yeah, is-
157. There we go. I converted it, and but I was always been the same weight, so I was the same weight then as I am now.
Wow.
Yeah, so I haven't actually changed height or shape since I've been 11. So when I was 11, I was quite big, and I was considered one of the big kids. I was tall,
Benjamin Button.
which is so weird. Yeah, I've gone backwards. Yeah, I'm hopefully going to be below 5 foot when I get older. That's what I'm going for. Anyway, and then I took the day off school because I was so I mean, I have the feeling of the anxiety of having to be weighed in front of everybody. Yeah. And Damon Boham was the same as me, but he was the big kid, the fat kid, and then I went in for the next science, and she goes, "Oh, Louise, you've missed it. So now I'm going to weigh you in front of everybody on your own." Fucking hell. And she pulled me up. I can be there right now, and stood there at the front of the class, and I whispered to her, "I don't want to be weighed. I don't want to be weighed." And she said, "Don't be so stupid."
As well.
Yeah, in front
not?
of a
Double whammy.
And
Not only are you
like-
potentially fat, but you're stupid as well.
Oh God, it was so awful. Yeah, and then being put on the scales and being the heaviest in the class. I was the heaviest. Yeah, same as Eamon Bohan. But anyway, I'm sorry that I didn't want to cut you off, but that was,
No.
I'd say thank you. What's fundamentally changed my life. And I could talk about going into anorexia and going into having bulimia as well, and also having that real body shame image as well. But I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we can have something upbeat from you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I won't go into that but I just wanted to, I know that pain and that story, and I'm not going to talk about all the miscarriages that I've had, because I thought that could be another life-changing thing.
Hang on, what else are you going to talk about? Can we just go
And
through
I'm
that?
not going to talk about all the...
Crikey.
What else? Come on.
I'm going to talk
there's-
I'm going to talk about my garden. I moved into this house. So I moved from, I can't remember where, to somewhere in the city. And then I moved up into Bel Air, and I really wanted to have a garden. And I was going through a particularly hard period with my business, Bambuser Productions. I'd invested a lot of time and energy and taken on a marketing team, and was just really like concentrated on going, I'm going to really make this fucking, this company work, and I'm going to get all the gigs in, and it's all going to be amazing. And I do bring in a lot of work, and it is amazing, but post-COVID it's been really hard work, and it's just really, really hard work. So I had this marketing company, and then I get spat out after Fringe time, which I'm producing lots of different festivals, I'm performing, I'm running around like a headless chicken, and I've got the marketing company that I'm paying a lot of money for, and there was crickets, nothing. So I go back into, my life is very, everything is kind of circular. So in March, April, all the work drops off, and then I don't normally have anything. And there I was in April with no work again, and pissed off. I was so pissed off that I put all this money into that, and I really was like a dog with a bone. I was kind of, fuck. Anyway, I retired to the garden.
What dog would you be?
I imagine like a little Jack Russell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Fuck.
But she thinks she's big.
Yeah. Like body morphia. Like I actually,
Rip your throat out.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a Jack Russell, but got anorexia
But
because
can do
she
backflips
thinks.
as well. And riding a unicycle. Yeah.
Oh God. And then so I retired to the garden. I was really like, fuck this shit. I'm off to the garden. I'm off to learn gardening. I had no idea what I was doing. But for the first time in my life, I didn't have fear of asking a question I didn't know. I didn't have any fear about going, I don't know what I'm doing. what am I doing? And just asking all the questions. Like sometimes I do have fear around, like, when music's playing and you don't know who it is. And I have fear about asking what the song is because I always feel like people are going to go, don't you know who that person is? And I never ask because there's fear around it. I know. You're going to unpack that.
So much I want to
unpack. Oh,
unpack.
yes, so much I want to unpack there, darling.
I'm going to unpack
anyway, with the garden, it's the first time I can kind of go, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't care saying
and you're
that.
okay, safely.
It's really safe. It's a really safe environment. And I'm like, okay, so what does this and how's that happen? And then just going out and getting my hands in the dirt. It just all sounds so cliche, but it's really so therapeutic. And then just learning to grow vegetables, getting completely obsessed with wanting to grow vegetables, and then nurturing, growing the vegetable, harvesting the vegetable, and then making food out of that vegetable. It's just the most incredible. It feels like, makes me want to actually get emotional about it.
You are actually getting emotional.
I'm actually
about
getting emotional. That's okay, thank you. When I'm stood in the garden, it feels like this is where I'm supposed to be, and I have a connection to all my ancestors. It feels like there is a deep, deep connection with the earth. And then I'm surrounded by birds, and I can see all the birds, I can see the bees, I can see all the insects, I can see the way the light moves across the hill on the other side of the light going through the trees, and I just look around, and and I feel like this is where we as humans are supposed to be.
But did it start like that? I mean, you go to the garden, did things die? And then you go, oh, fuck, why is this aubergine dead? How do I make it grow?
No, it was almost the opposite. It's almost
flourish?
like if you got the soil, and I was handed really beautiful soil. So the gardener beforehand was obviously amazing, and she handed me this gorgeous garden, and I have got lots of things. So I was literally like, what the fuck is that? I have no idea. And then I got that app, which is like I've taken all the apps off the phone,
Which app is this?
It's Identify. So it's and you literally stick it at the plant, and and they scan it, and then it tells you about the plant, and in most of the time how to look after what it is. For a start, what it is.
It's pretty amazing.
What is it? And then I did a permaculture course online, which was just, I loved it. And I got Hannah Maloney, who's, I love her. She's just so enthusiastic and just radiates kind of enthusiasm. I love her so much. And just, so being out in the garden has really given me this deep, deep sense of joy. And I can go out there all day and garden. And if I'm not out there, then I do feel a sense of loss or longing to be there. And then you can go and hang out like with the bees. Like you can just kind of go, oh, look at this bush. It's just like covered in bees. And then it's just, it's beautiful. And you stuff up. You stuff up with the vegetables. Sometimes you stuff up. But most of the time, if you've got good soil, you just whack it in. And it's actually quite incredible. You whack it in and it grows.
How is this different than, you have an argument with your partner and you go and sit in the other room, for example, but it's a distraction. You go to the garden because there's something about the garden which helps you understand your relationships.
Yeah.
And therefore you can.
You're tending to something else. You're tending to nature, and nature wants you to be there.
And nature is tending to you.
Yeah, and nature needs you to be there just as much as you need to be there.
Finding a place.
So it's a relationship that you have together. So nature is calling you out there to kind of go, I can't make more aubergines if you don't plant my aubergine bush.
We call them eggplants.
So you've got to be able to
eggplants.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm going to start saying courgette if you don't fucking watch.
Please do.
We'll put the translation in the show notes.
I say zucchini now when I get home. My mum's always going, zucchini. What is zucchini, Louise?
But taking it another level is if you get stressed out, it doesn't matter with what situation. Where does one need to go or do to allow one to sort of become whole again? And there's talk about people going for walks, people talking to friends, people going into the garden, or finding something which stops them from being exhausted all the time. So the garden for you and the garden for a lot of people is an area that takes away that exhaustion of load and allows you to be.
Be in the moment.
Allows you to gain the energy and be present.
Yeah, you're really present with, you go down and you're nutting out, like, why is it not... Where's my beans?
You're nutting out?
No, you're nutting out stuff with the garden. You're like kind of going, hang on a minute, where's all my beans gone? The bloody rats have eaten my beans. So then you've got to nut that one out. And then,
so how do you feel about that though?
Yeah.
You've given like
Exactly.
That's an interesting thing, right? So we collectively, I think, all believe in that regenerative thing and the fact that everything has a place. It all has a place within the place of the place. There we go, Dr. Zeusing again. But how do you feel about rats eating your beans?
But they're not. But you've also got to share as well. So there's a certain
that's how you
amount.
feel.
That's a
So
certain
if they
amount.
only eat 30% of your beans, it's okay.
Well, yeah, you've got to share it sometimes. I mean,
But if they eat
the
all
rats-
of your
What happens
beans,
if they
rats
eat
couldn't-
all of them?
well, they have done,
Yeah,
and
they
they
might.
go in and they take off the tops of the brassicas as well, which is actually a little bit annoying. So there is you have to try and work it out, but you've got to also with the birds as well. You've got to share with the birds, like all of the grapes. I mean, I had probably about 150 bunches of grapes hanging down, and you just got to suck it up. And the possums come over, and the birds come in, and then you've got to make a choice on which bunch of grapes you're going to save. Mind you, I must admit, I didn't share any of the figs.
no,
Yeah,
you
that's
no,
interesting.
we haven't had a fig.
Yeah, get away from the figs.
Share us with any figs. We never
Oh
got
yeah, I was
figs,
going
we
to
never
bring
got
fig jam.
mangoes.
So many
No, but I bought the zucchini
Tons of
pickle.
Well, this immersion into gardening, which is kind of where you've like you've jumped into the water.
Yeah.
Into the water. Speaking of the water talks.
Speaking of the water
You've
talks.
jumped into the water and you're like, woo, this is, fantastic. So it nourishes you
Physically
Do you
and
hide there?
emotionally.
Do you hide there? Do you hide in the garden? Like from so we've had lots of conversations about the collapse word. So how do you feel? I'm having so much fun with this microphone, I'm sorry. So do you hide from collapse? Because we
No.
talked about overwhelm.
No.
In the
No.
garden?
No, but being in the garden, when you're thinking about collapse, the garden is the best place to be
That's
because
pretty much my question.
yeah, that's
Do you hide in the garden?
No,
from
it's not.
collapse?
It's not a hiding. It's not a hiding. It's more of a. I need to go in there because this is where my place needs to be if I'm to support my community. So it's about knowledge and nourishing not just myself and my family, but it's about nourishing the community as well. And so being able to have the capacity to be able to share and be able to share that knowledge. So I feel like it's. If there is a time where we do need to grow our own vegetables or more of our own I don't think that's, it's not all going to collapse and suddenly everybody is just scrambling to turn their front yard into a vegetable patch. But then I can be somebody who can pass on some knowledge to say, yeah, okay, and also get that kind of sharing and like I want to put a little stall at the end of the
But it's like you've
driveway
got a nuclear,
to just kind of share.
It's like a
and-
nuclear bunker. It's like you've got a nuclear bunker here that if something goes wrong, you can feed people.
I'm not hiding away
expect-
from it though. It's more of about a sharing and it's about a connection to community. So like I can't eat all the pomegranates. Who can eat 20 pomegranates from a tree? Like you have shared all you can with the birds, but you have to share it with your community. So you need to be able to
Well, we can put it out there and ask somebody if they can eat 20 pomegranates. They can know where to come.
Please leave a comment below if you can eat 20 pomegranates.
Yeah, it's really tricky though, but there's a lot of pomegranates.
A lot of vitamin C.
The other thing is that, like, the garden is a state of collapse and renewal constantly. Like, the lesson in the garden is not that go and hide from collapse in the garden. The garden is literally collapsing things all the time. Compost is the collapse of
Last year's crop.
organic material into reusable nutrients to regrow. And that there is there is collapse in the garden, but it is a part of a cycle. And it's part of relationship, which it sounds like for you as well. That it's fundamentally different from approaching collapse as this big scary thing and actually viewing it as a cycle, renewal, an opportunity for growth.
An opportunity. If you fail, it's okay because you've got next year. You can just carry on. You can give it another crack. And you go, I'm really sorry about that. I stuffed up that plant, and I'm going to give it another crack.
That's interesting.
It is
Louise.
interesting.
You know, the thing that I find interesting specifically about that is that I don't think there's failure in the garden. I don't think you find failure in the garden. I think, well, in fact, I don't think there's no such thing as failure. Actually, I think that there's always just learning. But I find it in the garden, like we recently massacred. So we got these guys in to do our trees down at Rye, and it was it was like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in your backyard. And some of these olive trees were very old. And I walked in and went, oh my God, and bawled my eyes out. Can I tell you, a year later, you should see those.
Oh, they look good.
They're amazing. They're fresh growth. The apple tree's like, thank you. At the time that I looked at it, literally, I reckon they'd got the chainsaw and gone, just taken the top off.
Oh, my goodness.
So I don't know that there's...
There's regeneration as well.
I don't
Regeneration with the olive tree.
Correct.
And they just needed a big burst of
Correct.
life. So,
Yeah, correct.
yeah, I know. I love foraging olives as well, going out and finding wild olives. I should have bought that jar
Please
over
don't
as
feel
well.
like you need to do that. I've got 75 million
Okay, I'm going to
olives
come
give you
down.
to take home.
Oh, really? Beautiful.
Yeah, my God. Please have some.
Well, my darlings, I've had a lot of fun listening to your stories, and also not just fun, but it's deep, it's heavy, but it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And we're going to be doing another podcast as well soon. And this is the Water Talk. So please, if you enjoyed listening to us, this is new for us.
Yes.
So subscribe. We're on Substack, on YouTube, and we're going to be on across Instagram and Spotify and all the things, all those things. You've got to press all the buttons and do all the things. And I guess it's new, so please support us.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you, Lou.
No, thank you, darlings.
You.
Thank you.